Hare Krishna. Thank you. Everyone is comfortable? Yes?
Yes.
So we'll keep it short because it's lunchtime coming up. So I'm very, very grateful to be here with all of you. And according to the Vedic calendar, which is called as the Panchang, the present month of Margashirsha is very, very helpful for deep introspection. How is that? So a lot of the traditional practices which are based on the Vedic Panchang is more comfortably observed by those who live south of the Himalayan ranges, generally. So the entire tract of land that is south of the Himalayas up to the equator finds it more practical to align with the recommendations that have been given in the Vedic Panchang. However, because traditions and customs play a large role in one's identity as a human, so these customs become relevant even beyond geographical boundaries. These customs help one align one's faith with the Supreme Consciousness. Most of the customs are meant to help us deepen our faith so that we can be more and more happy as the via media for great events in this world. There was once a man who was trying to save a lot of sea crabs that had fallen out of the ocean. The tides had pushed them out. However, the numbers were too huge, the number of crabs. And his efforts in terms of how many he could help appeared to be very, very insignificant. And he was picking up one crab and trying to bring it back into the ocean. And even then he wouldn't be successful. So typically we would consider such an act to be not optimally productive. We would think that what is the benefit of this act? And there are hundreds upon thousands of crabs who cannot be helped. Or instead of crabs, if you like fishes, so there were fishes on the shore, whatever strikes, whatever strikes a chord in you, pick that kind of sea animal. So the so-called sane intelligence within us wants to know why would a person go against the tide of the world, against the tide of time itself. There are millions and millions of crabs there, and at the most a single person could maybe save a dozen, 2 dozen at the most. So it would seem a little futile when you look from this perspective. So you go and ask the person, and the person says that, well, you could ask the crab that got benefited from my act, whether it was the whole world to it or not. You know, picking up a crab and putting it back into the ocean is the miracle that that crab is looking for. Picking up another crab and putting it into the ocean is a miracle that both crabs will look forward to, that have been saved. So when we deepen our faith, that helps us become a viable and amiable instrument for such world events, for such world miracles. And that is why customs are important, traditions are important. So, traditionally, a lot of young people, especially who are of marriageable age, they are inspired by their elders to follow what is known as the Katyayani Vrata. You heard about this? Katyayani Vrata. It is quite popular in South India. In the month of Margashirsh. And with Srila Prabhupada's books going all over the world in various languages, through the institution of ISKCON, a lot of people are aware of the Katyayani Vrata. We may also be inspired to follow the Vrata. Yes? Now we are very, very simple-hearted people. That's true. Do you think all of us are simple-hearted?
Trying to be. Yes, sir.
Yeah? Yeah, we are simple-hearted people. We love to have fun. So whenever we get a chance to glorify Krishna, which is fun for us, we glorify Krishna. Because Krishna is fun. I mean, whether he is in Vrindavan or Dwarka, Hastinapur, if he's in Vrindavan, he's having fun. He feeds the monkeys so much that the monkeys cannot eat butter anymore. So then he posts on his blog. See, the butter here is not really
Tasty.
Yeah. It's not tasty. Even the monkeys are not eating it. And Krishna's blog is read by all. Isn't it? The Bhagavad Gita is still being heard and read. That's his blog. Now he's in Dwarka. So he has this interesting way to come to Dwarka. He runs away from the battlefield. Now that's fun. Isn't it? He's in Mathura. So he challenges all the wrestlers and defeats them, having fun. He's in Hastinapur. He's in Hastinapur. He says, Well, I have sent Hanuman as Ramadut to Sita. I would like to have this fun of being a Dut myself, a messenger. So he becomes Shanti Dut. Becomes a messenger. Goes to Hastinapur. And then he says, oh, my devotees are always successful. I wasn't as successful as a Shanti Dut. So that's fun. See how fun Krishna is. Now in Kurukshetra, on the battlefield, is like Arjun. I don't know how you're going to fight, but you have to fight. And when Arjuna is fighting, he's like, okay, 8 points for that. You could do much better. He's telling him, Arjuna, you're not showing your complete potential fighting with Bhishma Dev. And Arjuna is like, okay, why don't you fight? He's like, no, I will not fight. You fight. So, being simple-hearted devotees, we like to glorify Krishna. Isn't it? Do you like to glorify Krishna?
Yes.
Yes, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so then you have to join in now. You ready to join in?
Yes, Prabhu.
Braje prasiddham navneet chauram gopangananam cha dukula chauram अनेक जन्मार्जित पाप चौरम चौराग्रगण्य पुरुषम नमामि. You've got the benefit of performing thousands of fire sacrifices right now. Did you know that? In the month of Margashirsha, there is great importance to chanting this verse. This is from a set of 8 verses, therefore it is called an Ashtakam. And since it is about the Lord who is described as Chauragraganya Purusha. What is it called as? Chauragraganya Purusha. And it is an Ashtakam. So this Ashtakam is called as Chauragraganya Purushashtakam. What is it called as? And because it's a tongue twister, therefore the local dialect or the form in the local dialect, the Prakrita form is Chaurashtakam. What is the Prakrit form? And what is the original? Chauragraganya Purushashtakam. Alright? Braje prasiddham navanita chauram. Yes. Gopangananam chadukula chauram. Braje prasiddham navanita chauram. Gopangananam chadukula chauram. Aneka janmarjita papa chauram. Chauragraganyam purusham namami. Aneka janmarjita papa chauram. Chauragraganyam purusham namami. So everyone understood what this means? Did we understand?
No.
Okay. So, Praje Prasiddham Navanita Chauram. That is what we said, right? So in the month of Margashirsha, where one has practically spent the entire year trying to figure out how to live life comfortably, one realizes that we have spent a lot of time, our valuable time, in efforts that have distracted us from our own happiness. What gives us the most happiness, practically, is when we are thinking about ourselves. Practically, that's true or not?
Yes.
And if we are not able to think about ourselves, we are like, oh my God, life is such a burden. So an entire year we spend just doing other things where we are not able to focus on our own identity. So the month of Margashirsha, according to the Vedic Panchanga, it is also the first month of the winter season, the Himanta season. It is also sometimes the first month of the year, because you restart. So, Braje Prasiddham, if one has to have one's mind, one's heart, one's consciousness distracted by things outside of oneself, then why not choose an object that is worth it? Why not get distracted by an object that makes our time worthwhile? So who is it that has a capacity to steal our consciousness? So the author says, Braje Prasiddham. So Braj means Vrindavan, and Braj also means this fire of material existence, this forest of material existence. And in this forest of material existence, there is somebody who's very famous as a thief. What does a thief do? Navanita Chauram. He steals that which is the most delicate, that has the most delicate existence in life, in the entire creation. And what is the most delicate existence in the entire creation? Our consciousness. Very sensitive. Our consciousness is very sensitive. Chetana. Right now, if there's something that makes you comfortable, you're like, yes, everything is nice. And suddenly something happens, oh my God, why did it have to happen to me? So sensitive. Right? So Navanita Chauram. Krishna in Vrindavan steals Navanit, freshly churned butter. He's very picky. He does not like the butter that is stored in our refrigerators. Freshly churned butter. Freshly churned butter, in terms of consciousness, is that which is in the present. He doesn't want that which was in the past or which can come in the future. The present consciousness. So he has a capacity to capture our present consciousness. Now, why wouldn't we want to do that? We've spent an entire year being captured by so many other objects that have distracted us. Here, there's an opportunity. Therefore, Braje Prasiddham, this carries so much of punya. There's so much of pious credits when you sing this beautiful song, this Ashtakam. Bilva Mangal Thakur, the great author. Gopangananam Chudukula Chauram. And then there is further description about what else he can capture. The gopis are the goddesses of fortune. And he captures their attention. Yes, he is Shripati. They are interested in him. Which basically means all the Aishwarya, all the opulence that a living entity is looking out for. He is the reservoir of that. Alright? So that is Krishna. So what is Katyayani Vrata? So from the ordinary point of view, since we are in the business of creation, everyone is in the business of creation here. Anyone in the business of destruction? You're in the business of destruction? No. Anyone in the business of destruction? Creation, right? All of us are interested in creation.
Yes.
Being creative. Hashtag being creative. It's very trendy, isn't it? But hashtag being destructive? No. So being destructive is not what we want to be. Being the maintainer, we've already done a lot of it. Isn't it? As children, we've tried to maintain our grades throughout the year. As adults, we have tried to maintain our bank balance throughout the year. So we're like, all right, Lord Vishnu, you handle that. But creation, yes. Brahmaji, you take a back seat. I have many creative ideas. Correct? So because creation means srujan. Srujan, creation means bringing something new to the table. It means production. Therefore, Katyayani Vrata in the month of Margashirsha is about that which can help the creative potency amongst living beings that are embodied. The main purpose of the creative potency is to give every living entity that is conscious a chance to be optimally happy. And for that, for us to have a chance, we need to take birth. Otherwise, we are covered by ignorance. And being covered by ignorance, if you don't have a chance at birth, there's no chance of uncovering that ignorance. And birth can only happen in certain ways. Physical birth. And one of the ways that is recommended in the scriptures is that for giving birth so that a living entity can attain one's potential of being very happy, perfectly happy, is marriage. So now we miss out all the other part because that is not very attractive in the statement. We just focus on this word marriage. Ah, yes. So because that has been taken into focus by people who only want short-term goals, the Katyayani Vrata is specially recommended for those who want to have a happy married life, beginning with having a good partner. So Katyayani Vrata is performed by, or is recommended to be performed by young adults who are now ready for marriage. Is it alright? Now, from the spiritual perspective, if you are into sadhana, if you have spiritual practices, basically Katyayani Vrata is also meant for the living entity to marry off one's desires to Krishna's service. Therefore, from both perspectives, the perspective of creation in this material world, the Katyayani Vrata is recommended for young adults who are of marriageable age, so that they can find compliant partners rather than good partner. I have not understood what is a good partner. Somebody can help me understand that. In the Sanskrit terminology, it is always called as Yogya Vara, Yogya Vadhu, which means compliant, basically. The translation is not good. Is it good?
Qualified.
Qualified.
Suitable.
Suitable. Okay, if that is what is more comfortable for you, you can use it. I like compliant. Basically, it means your entire life you have to have good compliance factor rather than being qualified. It's true? Yeah. So both. Wherever any gender has less facility of expression, so the stress will be more on that gender. If they have equal facility of expression, the stress will be on both genders. Is this understandable? So both boys and girls can perform this Vrata. Katyayani Vrata according to Krishna Leela is what we would like to hear, right? Yes. So we'll have to go a little back in history to the time when Lord Ram was present. So Krishna was still, he was like waiting for his time to come. Lord Ram's time was there. So Lord Krishna was waiting for deputation basically. So Lord Ram was on deputation here. And who put him on deputation? We. Our representatives, the demigods, went to the ocean of milk and said, "My Lord, we need you to be on deputation in this ocean." So he arrived. Similarly, Krishna, our representatives, the leaders we chose, they decided in Parliament that we have to go. In the Senate, let us go and put a petition to the Lord. Lord, deputation time. So, Lord Ram was very attractive. His physical experience was so attractive, so attractive. Now, Krishna is also very attractive because Krishna means all attractive. Lord Ram means reservoir of all pleasure. So attractive. His attractiveness is very pleasurable. As Krishna, he expresses how attractive he is. So in Dwarka, when he sees a reflection of himself in a pillar, he's like, "Oh my God, this person is so attractive, so beautiful. Who is this person?" And then somebody tells him, "It is you, my dear Lord." Oh, that is why my devotees are so attractive. I wish I could be a devotee too and not be attracted just to my reflection. So he comes as his devotee in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyways, Lord Ram is very attractive. However, Maryada. He always expresses his emotions according to what is needed in society. Maryada. So he's always very, very observant. It's not that Krishna is not observant, but Krishna did not have the role that Lord Ram had. Krishna never took up the role of being the ruler. Very intelligent. He said, as Lord Ram, I have seen what it is. In Krishna Leela, I will win all the battles, but I'll make Ugrasen ruler. Let him handle that role. I will be just one of the courtiers, one of his advisors. So Krishna, or Lord Ram, he was so attractive that when he came to the forest of Dandakaranya, all the rishis, the ascetics there, were constantly meditating on the guna and the Rupa, the qualities and the form of the Lord, when they saw the Lord come, it was like a super duper newly released movie for them. Like, wow! I'll pay whatever it takes. I just want to drink in this, or I want to be there in the Lord's presence. So they completely forgot about all of the practices and what was the goal of the practices. They were so immersed in the beauty of the Lord. And the Lord was smiling at them, Lord Ram. So after some time they found their voice. They said, now like sometimes we experience this, that one devotee will ask another devotee, I have something, please come to the side. So we experience that in front of us. They'll take another devotee aside. So these rishis, they asked Lord Ram, how do you say that in Telugu? Please come aside. Yeah, that thing. That is what the rishi said to Lord Ram. Please come. And they asked Sita, you stay right there. Lakshman, stay right there. They got him to the side and they said, my dear Lord, today we realize how cumbersome this body is, the form is. Because of this male form, we are not able to express the attraction that we have towards you. We want to be eternally your servants, serving you in the most intimate of relationships, just as a consort serves her partner. The Lord Ram was smiling. He said, Maryada, what you say is correct. In my next incarnation, I will have much more liberty. So there you can be reborn. And you can have this opportunity of intimate service. So it was time for when Lord Krishna, the Lord in the ocean of milk, when he asked various different living entities and also his close associates to appear in the lineage of the Gopas, the cowherd community, to appear there, to take birth there. These rishis from Dandakaranya also took birth as girl child or girl children of the Gopa community, the cowherd community. So basically they became gopis. How do you and I know that? So somebody had access to their dossier, their resume. Somebody has access to it. They are called acharyas. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, they explain that. And they say that these rishis, they came in Krishna Lila as Rishi Chari Gopi. Rishi Chari Gopis. This has, you know the word Brahmachari? Those who practice a certain way of life. So Rishi Chari Gopis are those gopis, they are not the ones that come along with Krishna. They are the ones that got entry passes in Krishna's pastimes. And what was their qualification for getting it? Rishi Acharan. Their practices as ascetics in the forest of Dandakaranya. So these are the Rishi Chari Gopis, right? Now because they had this is the flavor of these gopis. Now these gopis are very austere. Rishikari gopis, right? So these are the gopis that perform the Katyayani Vrata. Does it make sense now?
Yes.
And at the end of the Vrata, because any Vrata is only fulfilled when you have the Supreme Goddess of Fortune there, they also invited Srimati Radharani. So she comes along with all of her entourage. So the culmination of the Vrata, that was the Shukla Purnima of Margashirsha. So they begin the Vrata on the Pratipada of Krishna Pratipada of Margashirsha, and they finish the Vrata on Shukla Purnima, which is exactly 28 days, month, 30 days if you want to say 30 days. So entire month. How did this happen? So Krishna being Krishna, he remembered his promise. Do you think Krishna remembers his promise?
Yeah. Yes.
Not the ones that we think that Krishna should remember. But what Krishna promises to us. So Krishna being Krishna, remembered his promise. Oh, I had promised the Rishikari gopis that they can serve me with intimacy. The Rishis have done the Karanya, right? So according to Jiva Goswami, or maybe it is Kavi Karnapur, one of them, the Acharya, he says when these gopis were 3 years old, and Krishna was around about the same age. So they had entry at the same time. Everyone came and took birth, right? The Devatas also, they came, they took birth. The Rishis also, they took birth. And Krishna's own entourage and Radharani's entourage, they also came and they appeared. So all of them are almost the same age. Some a little earlier, some a little later. Balaramji came a little earlier. So Balaramji's gang came a little earlier. Isn't it? Balaram Club. That came a little earlier. Like that. So these, because they had to serve Krishna, so they were about the same age. Krishna was a little older. So when Krishna was about 4 years old, he had a fancy. He took out his flute and started playing the flute. When he played the flute has different levels of impact on whoever hears it, according to what their consciousness is. This flute, the sound of this flute, when it entered the ears of the Rishikari gopis who were about 3 years old, they completely lost interest in the external affairs of the world. They would go every day morning into the Yamuna. They would bathe there. They would come out. They would start meditating. They were completely unaware of their bodily needs like eating and sleeping. And they were constantly crying tears. 3 years old. Because all they could remember was the sweetness of the sound of the flute. Now in Brahma Samhita, do we remember what is said about the flute? The verses that we sing. What is the flute called as?
Venu.
Last verse. Bankhi Priya Sakhi. What is the Venu called as? Vanshi Priya Sakhi Katha Ganam Natyam Gamanapi Vansi Priya Sakhi. The flute is your dearmost companion. So the flute of Krishna is Krishna's paraphernalia, but it becomes the dearmost companion of the devotee. So the flute. Very, very interesting piece of paraphernalia of Krishna. Krishna plays the flute. The Rishikari gopis have put their parents in deep distress. They're all discussing with each other. What has happened to our girls? They are unaware of eating and playing. They don't even sleep. They're simply crying. And they're always chanting Krishna's names. What has happened to our girls? So in Vrindavan, there is a very famous personality who is the only one that can solve problems. Yes. How do you know that? You heard? So she is a problem solver in Vrindavan. There's nobody else. So who's Purnamasi? Purnamasi is Krishna's grandmother. Alright? So Krishna's grandmother, she has authority. So everyone comes to Purnamasi. And when Purnamasi hears about this, she is also the internal potency of the Lord. She comes to the gopis and she says, the Rishikari gopis. Now, Kavi Kuranapur, he jumps in here, our Acharya. He says, why just the Rishikari gopis? There's somebody else too. And you're like, who's that? Who's that? When the Vedas, they were praising the Supreme Lord and glorifying Him, they got so attracted to the Supreme Lord. They are like, we want to serve in intimacy too. So they approached the Supreme Lord, the Lord of the Vedas, the Lord who's glorified by the Vedas. The Lord said, what is it? He said, we want to serve you in intimacy. And the Lord said, Maryada, you are the Vedas. Veda personified. Typically, the personified form of the Vedas is referred to as Veda Purusha. Veda Purusha, the Supreme Lord Himself. Veda Purusha, personified form of the Vedas. He said, yes, but this is what we want. So he said, when I come as Krishna, I have more liberty. So just see how the scriptures have put so much burden on Krishna. It is not by his wanting. He is always calm. He is Atma Tattva. But then there are so many responsibilities to be fulfilled. If you are going to be the source of all the living entities, then you have responsibilities. So Krishna's responsibility says, all right, you can also appear as gopis. So he says, these Vedas personified, they did a lot of tapas. And they appeared from the wombs of the gopis in Vrindavan as Upanishadachari gopis and Shrutichari gopis. Nice names. I have to keep your attention, so I'm inventing names. If you don't remember anything, you're like, oh, some chari. So Shrutichari means the Shrutis. The Vedas also calls it Shrutis. And sometimes there's a division of the Vedas into Shruti and Upanishads. So Upanishadachari gopis. So she collected all of them, Purnamasi. And she said, every day, wake up early in the morning, go to the Yamuna, take your auspicious bath. So this is a different kind of bath. How many of you all wake up early in the morning and you know that you have to do some sadhana like chanting and you take bath? You know what kind of bath is that? If you wake up just a few minutes late and you know that you have a fixed amount of time for chanting. You know that instead of 10 rounds, now you'll be able to chant only 7 rounds. You know what kind of bath you take?
Quick one.
Kagasna. Not Kagasna. Just dip your body under the shower and come out. And you're like, what happened? 3 rounds. It's a matter of 3 rounds. And so one day you're like, somehow or the other, either the stomach is failing you or something, the body is giving you some signals. You wake up early, you're like, okay, I can do extra rounds today. Or maybe I should just do what is routine. I have time for 2 more rounds. But I should not do that. Let me just do 10 right now and maybe later whatever is fixed. So then what kind of bath do you take?
Slow.
That is when you enjoy the bath. So she said, take your auspicious bath. What is auspicious bath? Auspicious bath is that when you wake up in the morning and you know that you have to go and do service. You're like, I have to do service. So you take a bath. You do service. Nama Seva is the most practical service that people can do. So every day we can take a very auspicious bath. Is it that correct? What is Nama Seva?
Chanting.
Serving the holy names by the process of japa or chanting. So we cannot take auspicious bath every day. Margashirsha at least. Yes? So, take an auspicious bath and sit there. Now, Margashirsha in India, they do not have space heaters there. And the river waters are really cold. Like, terribly cold. Because first of all, it is glacial water. Secondly, the sun has gone all the way south. So the nights are really, really cold. And thirdly, it's not just the water that's cold, it's not just the air that's cold, it's also the land that's cold. So basically you have no refuge. So she tells Purnamasi, sit on the banks of the river. Ouch. You're dripping, you've taken a bath, you're dripping with Yamuna water and you sit on the banks of the river and prepare a form of Devi and worship her with various items. Offer nice food stuff to her. So do all the 16 items of worship and chant a mantra. Now we would like to get the benefit. So if we get a chance, we would kind of forget the first part of the ceremonial bath, prepare. But we would like to chant the mantra, no? Isn't it? Alright? So let's do that. Katyayani Mahamaye
Katyayani Mahamaye
Mahayoganyadhishwari
Mahayoganyadhishwari
Nanda Gopa Sutam Devi
Nanda Gopa Sutam Devi
Patim Me Kurute Namaha.
Patim Me Kurute Namaha.
So one of the understandings could be that, O Katyayani, who is Mahamaya, who is Mahayogi, Yogini, and who is Adhishwari. Nanda Gopa Sutam Devi, O Devi, please bless us that Nanda Gopa Sutam, Patim Me, can become my husband. So they were performing the Vrata from the perspective of how everyone is interested in the creative potency, creation. But then we are simple-hearted people, but philosophy we always make it a little more interesting, isn't it? We try to philosophically bring out what we call as something deep. What is a deep meaning? So it's not something very deep. Now, if I look down into the well, it's deep. But the frog in the well, for its... So somebody who's philosophically astute, they do not find it very deep. But if we are not philosophically astute, then we may like, oh, that was such a deep meaning given. Correct? So Katyayani Mahamaya. First she is addressed as Mahamaya. You know who's Mahamaya? Do you know who's Mahamaya?
External energy of Krishna.
Mahamaya is the big Maya.
Maha means big.
And Maya means affection. Affection takes on two forms. When there is deep affection, then one of the ways affection is expressed is in forms of restriction. And another way that affection is expressed is in the form of
Freedom.
allowance. Thank you. Restriction and allowances. Isn't that true? Do you think the traffic laws that tell you speed, maximum speed 70 miles per hour is because they hate you? Or they care about you? But it's restrictive, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? Now, if you're 18 years of age, you can drive on your own provided you're fulfilled. Isn't that allowance?
Yes.
So you see, what is Maya? Maya is technically affection. However, when the affection is more towards the restrictive side, why is that? If you have got 2 or 3 strikes, you have done things on the roads, and you have 24 points. So your license is taken away for at least 3 years. So if we are in that situation, then the restriction is very severe. So from the philosophical point of view, having a license taken away is like taking birth in the material world. License has been taken away. We are given 2-3 chances. 2 points gone, 3 points gone, 5 points. Finally 24 points. In one strike, one go. Alright. Here it is, the material world. That is affection too. So Maya is affection. Therefore they are praying to Katyayani as Mahamaya. Now who can give you back your license? Once your license has been taken away, who can give you back your license? The very authority that has taken away your license. So once we are in the material world, who can give us the license to go back into the spiritual world?
Is it yoga Maharaj?
The same agency, Maya. Hence in the scriptures, when this verse has been expressed in 10th canto, Acharyas have said, actually Mahamaya means Yoga Maya. Mahamaya means Yoga Maya, because all that she is doing as Mahamaya is trying to push you towards your eternal position as servant of Krishna, not towards Krishna. Because we have abused that a lot. So she is trying to push us towards our eternal position as servant of Krishna. So Katyayani Mahamaya, Mahayogini Adhishwari. What does Yogini mean? Mystical powers. So what does Katyayani's mystical powers? Hmm? She creates an illusion that destroys our illusion. See, when we begin our practices as new sadhakas, what we think is reality is another illusion for us, isn't it? It's like, yes, from tomorrow onwards I'm going to be the most pure devotee of Krishna. It's a good illusion. Because this illusion will lead us towards reality. Correct? The basis of that illusion is reality. Just as the basis of the other illusion that binds us is also reality. What is the difference? The illusion that binds us in this material world is what we create for ourselves out of ignorance. And the illusion that we create of wanting to be the most pure devotee as a beginner in spiritual practices as a sadhika, it is based on knowledge. So we begin with that illusion. Who creates that illusion for us? The day you wake up early and you do your spiritual practices nicely and you feel happy. Oh, today I was almost there. I almost saw Krishna. Today I feel as if I'm an acharya. At least I can save 2-3 other people from this material world too. We've been through that. If no one else, our children. Is it true or not? Yeah? So that feeling of being happy in Krishna consciousness is also the mercy of this yogini. She is a wizardess. She has this potency. But what is more important is Mahayogini Adhishwari. Adhishwari, she's been addressed as Adhishwari. However, Adhishwari basically refers to Radharani. So actually the Mahayogini is Radharani. So this prayer is actually to Radharani. So after Kartik Mas, this is what the gopis did. Kartik Mas is where we worship Srimati Radharani, and after Kartik Mas, they did the Katyayani Vrata for 1 month so that they can get intimate service to Krishna. I was supposed to be short, I'm so sorry. I cannot go on. There's so much more. I'd like to stop here. So 2 things is, if somebody is of marriageable age, then this is recommended. This Vrata is recommended. And the Vrata basically is with waking up early in the morning, worshipping the form of the Devi. For us, it is Srimati Radharani along with Krishna. You can chant this mantra, or you can chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And the benediction is that one will most probably have a very compliant partner. It all depends upon how compliant we want to be later on in life. Isn't it? You may have a very compliant device. However, if you are rough with it, what can it do? Alright? So that is one. And secondly is, for those who are in the spiritual pursuit of wanting to serve Krishna, Janma Janmani Ishwari, lifetime after lifetime, or becoming free from the cycle of birth and death and eternally serving Krishna in our eternal forms, then this Vrata also, and especially this mantra also, reveals the deeper aspects of philosophy. Basically, it just reveals that how the prayer is to Srimati Radharani, who is the source of all service that gives pleasure to Krishna. who is the very embodiment of service that gives pleasure to Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. There is also the idea of pati. So what does pati mean? As I said, if one is looking for a compliant partner, then what does pati mean?
Husband.
Mhm.
Lord who takes care.
The Lord who takes care, or husband, isn't it? Now, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the second canto, there are certain words describing the Supreme Lord. Dadarsha tatra akhila satvatam patim. So what is the first word? Satvata pati. Akhila satvata pati. Alright? Shriya patim, yagya patim, jagat patim. Shriya pati, Lord of all opulences. Yagnapati, Lord of all sacrifices. Jagatpati, the Lord of the whole universe. Or the husband of all the devotees, Satvatampati. Or the husband of the entire universe. The husband of all that is opulent. Or the husband of all that sacrifices. Benedict one. That husband means, in this case, pati means an object that is perfectly qualified to receive service, to receive your emotions. That is pati. Alright? So, again, when they are asking that Nanda Suta, Nanda Gopa Suta Devi Patim Me Kurute. So this prayer from the sadhaka's point of view is that, oh dear Devi, and who's the Devi here? Katyayani, because Adhishwari we already established Radharani. So it's no longer Katyayani as the Durga form of Katyayani. It is Radharani as a Durga form. Alright? So Durga, the word, means one who is very strict. Yes? And Durga, the word also means one who is capable of destroying all that is strict with us. All that is difficult to us can be destroyed by that which is Durga. Okay? So Srimati Radharani. So thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Any comments? Any clarification?